Hello, my dear students. So, in previous two videos, we have seen what do you mean by neuron, what do you mean by perceptron. We tried to put perceptron in a layer, and that was known as a single layer perceptron, which is containing only one input layer and one output layer. Now, today, we are going to elaborate our network and we are going to learn artificial neural network, which is making use of your neuron or perceptron as building block. And here we are trying to use more than one layer in between your input layer and output layer. Means there will be only one input layer and one output layer. But in between these two, input and output, we are going to add more and more layers and we will get artificial neural network. Now, what is our concept? ANN, that is what the artificial neural network. And here this GIF is indicating you the artificial neural network, where on the left side you will have input layer and on the right side you will have output layer, and in between layers are called as hidden layer. And you can see that this artificial neural network I have put inside a human brain like structure. Means inside our human brain also we are having a neural network made up of biological neurons. So we are trying to replicate our human brain using artificial neural network. So let's go in detail slide by slide. So what is your artificial neural network's definition? It is a pool of a simple processing unit. So what are the simple processing unit? Our neurons, means perceptrons. Okay, and they are arranged in layers and they are trying to send the signals to each other. And how they are connected? Using the weighted connections. Okay, so this is what the definition indicating the architecture of artificial neural network. Now, these are some properties of your artificial neural network. Means you should be able to write down the properties of artificial neural network. It is containing a set of cells, processing unit, neurons, or perceptron. Okay. Now, from one layer to next layer, the neuron should be activated. Means there is a state of activation for every node in your network. Okay. And that is what the output of that node, output of that unit. And there are connections between these units because these neurons should be connected. Then only the network will be formed. And these connections are weighted. Then the next one will be the propagation rule. Propagation rule means what? Whatever external inputs you are getting, out of those inputs, which input is effective, means you will decide which input I will use while proceeding from one layer to next layer. Then there is a activation function that is deciding how much effective is my input based on the current activation. Then there should be mainly external input for each unit. Then there should be information gathering, that is known as our learning role. And uh, these all are placed in a environment. Means the whole network is operating in one environment, which is providing input signal and if necessary error signal also. Now, whenever error signal is there, again you have to move back in the backward direction. Okay. Now, what is the difference in between your standard computer and neural network? Standard computer may have only one CPU, but in neural network, such many CPUs are working parallelly. So it is a fast processing unit, but our neural network is little bit slow. Now you can rely completely on your standard computer, but here my nodes that neurons are connected by weighted connections, so not that much reliable. This is a static infrastructure, while our neural network is a dynamic infrastructure. Means from one execution to next execution, the output may not be same. It may vary in points. The accuracy of your neural network may vary in points. And from one layer to next layer, which neurons are getting activated, that will change in every execution. Okay, now why we are designing artificial neural network? Now, if you want to see technically, then there are some problems which are surely solved by your artificial neural network, mostly the prediction problems, or your data classification, or character recognition, or image processing. For such problems, you need a huge data processing, and which is solved by your artificial neural network only. And biological viewpoint means, yes, we are trying to replicate the human brain. We are learning based on the human brain only. Okay, so that is what the biological viewpoint for the ANN. Now, what is the building block of ANN? Neuron. It will receive input, then its internal change state will be changed based on the activation, and it will generate the output signal. Okay. Now, yeah, there is information transmitted from one layer to another layer by using the connections which are weighted. So such connections are called as a spikes. And and the frequency and phases of the spike will encode the information. And there are such more than 10,000 of neurons. Means it will form a huge network. Okay. So here you can see that on right side we are having human brain, and on the left side we are showing how it is internally connected, just like your ANN. Okay. Now how our ANN is working like a human brain. Input will be multiplied with weights. You will get a sum. Then there will be activation function and you will get the output. Okay, this is what the working of single neuron. Since last two videos, we are seeing it again and again. Now, when I consider only input, then I will add it and I will get the output. But only input is not sufficient for my accuracy. It should be a weighted input. That's why I will assign some weights, and then I will get a weighted sum, and that sum will be given to the output. But there should be someone who is controlling the whole operation. So that will be controlled by a threshold. That is what the activation function or transfer function means, which will transfer your weighted sum to the output. So that F is indicating you the transfer function or the activation function. Means user will give a input data set. You will assign some weights. Try to multiply this, add it, then apply your activation function and generate the output. Okay. So the same is indicated here layer wise. Now, in single layer perceptron, we have seen that our network is having only two layers. Those were only the input layer and output layer. Now here we have the addition of layer, that is what the hidden layer. Now the role of the hidden layer is it will extract the information to more and more details. Okay, so that is what the main advantage of hidden layer. The more and more feature extraction task will be accomplished in hidden layers. So these are the three type of layer in any neural network. Okay. Now how we are learning in neural network. Now actually what we are doing is our neural network is just like a brain of a small kid. Okay. Now we will show some animal to the kid and we will tell them in that this is a tiger, this is a zebra. Okay. Then how that kid will fix a image in brain by capturing the features, the properties of that particular animal. Okay. Now, next time when that kid will see cat, he may be confused that is it a small version of tiger? Yes or no? Then we will try to explain kid that no, there is a difference between this animal and tiger. This animal is called as a cat. Okay, so what are the difference in those features? So we will try to explain them. So how our kid is learning by trial and error, in the same way, the artificial neural network is learning by trial and error. Now, what do you mean by trial and what do you mean by error here? So in trial, you will try to get output. Then you will evaluate that output. You are evaluating output means what? You are trying to find out the error. That is the difference between the actual output and expected output. And when there is a huge difference, okay, means there is more error. Because of that error, I may think that no use of such neural network. I want to reduce that error. Then in that case, I should adjust my weights. Okay, and again the whole process I should repeat. Now what we will observe here is one example. Okay, XOR, in which I am giving two inputs and one output, and there I am making use of one hidden layer. Now, let us see. We are reading two inputs 0 and 0. For XOR gate, when both inputs are 0, my output should be 0. But what output I am getting? 0.6. Means there is a difference of nearly 0.6 only. Now I should adjust my weights and I should repeat the whole process again unless and until my error is in limit. Okay, that is, the condition is what? Error should be below some threshold value. Till that time, I will repeat the number of iterations. Okay. Now, that error, you may say it as a epsilon, some constant. Now, when you are designing the artificial neural network, what you should remember, what is the weight, means how you are initializing your weight vector. Then what is your activation function, how you will calculate the error, how you will adjust the weights, how many number of neurons you will use in each layer, and how you are going to represent your data, and what is the size of your training set, which will decide the number of neurons in your input layer. So where we can use such artificial neural network? In mainly in prediction. Okay, that prediction may be a weather forecasting, that may be a stock market prediction, that may be a classification which will help me for decision making, that may be a data processing, that may be a email spam filtering, anything. Okay, now what are the advantages and disadvantages of this one is the main advantage is what? Once your model is trained perfectly, you will use it for any application. Okay, but what is the disadvantage? It is not storing the predicted value. Okay, it is forgetting, and it may not be that much accurate, and the network is complex network. So this is what the disadvantage of your artificial neural network. So what is the conclusion? Using artificial neural network, we are trying to create a replica of human brain. Okay, and here we are trying to build a neural network with more accuracy, and such network should be useful for our real-time application for a specific task. Now, it is a huge area of research which is used even in medical fields, and the working of NN mainly depends on weight adjustment. Thank you.